So how does a business run ethically? And the answer to that is it starts at the top. Managers are the leaders of a business. And if you want to have a business where everybody, every stakeholder, every employee within the business acts in an ethical manner, managers have to create a system of values, instill it in their employees, and monitor it at all times. The trust between workers and managers is based upon fairness, honesty, openness, and moral integrity. You have to have that positive relationship that people are doing these things, they're acting ethically, not because you're telling them to, because they want to be part of something bigger. They want to be part of a company that not only is profitable and increases their paycheck, but also is good for society as a whole. One thing that managers can definitely do that will lead to unethical behavior is to set up a system of goals and incentives, which are very, very difficult to obtain, or they're available to very few employees, where you're putting your employees in constant competition with one another instead of working together. If you do that, you are completely asking for unethical actions to occur. If you say the top salesman gets a huge bonus and nobody else gets a bonus at all if they're not the top salesman, you're basically encouraging your employees to fake sales in one way or another so they can be in the running for that bonus. So your system needs to be set up in a way that's achievable for everybody, that's realistic, and it also is inclusive of everybody working towards one greater goal. So what goes into managerial ethics depends on the perspective you're talking about. On the individual level, your family status and your values play a huge part into what you consider to be ethical and what things that you may do that might be unethical. If you are working at a place and you know someone else is acting unethically, but you have a big family at home that you are financially supporting, you're going to be much less inclined to rock the boat, as they say, to put yourself at risk that you're not a team player, you're not going along with everybody else by blowing the whistle, which we'll get to later. That is something that can change what you consider to be ethical. You might look at the situation and be like, yeah, it's kind of unethical, but it's not that bad, and I don't want to be the person that causes all this drama and possibly lose my job and not be able to support my family. Organizational, again, all starts with the management philosophy of your top level managers. It's about very firmly delineating what is ethical and what is not ethical. And your firm's reward system, does it reward people fairly, or is it making them want to compete against each other in a way that might encourage unethical behavior? And then for the environment, that could be your business environment or the actual environment, both of those ethics is a part of. Is there economic conditions right now that you should be taking into consideration? What is the social structure of the place that you're operating? Because not every area of the world has the same set of ethics. These are all factors that go into what makes up a good ethical system to have. And your code of ethics can be two different things. It can be compliance-based, as they say, where basically if you have a compliance-based code of ethics, you are saying just that: do not break the law. Be in compliance with legal standards at all times. And you emphasize preventing that unlawful behavior by increasing the controls at your business so people can't act unlawfully. And then if someone does, making an example, for lack of a better term, penalizing them for their wrongdoing. An integrity-based code of ethics is still that. It's still asking everybody else to act in a legal manner, but it expands upon it. It teaches the guiding values of your organization, what you stand for, and are people's actions, your employees' actions, going along with that corporate goal? Do you have a system where new employees will know what you consider to be ethically sound behavior and be trained to act in an ethical manner? And putting accountability on all employees, that it's everybody's responsibility to make sure that our company as a whole is socially responsible, is acting in an ethical way. You can't look and be like, I was perfect, somebody else did this. You're all part of a greater thing. You should be sharing in that accountability. Have Hershey's Code of Ethics right here. And theirs, they basically break it down into what their commitment is to 4 different areas of their business. What is their commitment to consumers? To maintain consumer trust that they place in the brands by putting the best product in the market and adhering to honest marketing practices. Their commitment to the marketplace, to deal fairly with their business partners, their competitors, and their suppliers, not trying to spread false, rumors about another chocolate company in order to gain market share. That would be unethical. Commitment to stockholders, which all comes down to accounting numbers. We are going to transparently show you what our financial position is right now, how we did the last period in terms of generating income, what we owe to people at this time, like what situation are we in. And that's a code that everybody should have, as far as I'm concerned, when they go into business. Make sure that you let other stakeholders that have some kind of tie to your business, they're invested in your success, know exactly what is happening. And then lastly, Hershey's has a commitment to the global community to comply with trade laws, to protect natural resources and the environment, and to support the communities in which they operate. Some strategies that go into having and using a code of ethics. Well, if you are compliance-based, if you're centered around laws, you still need to conform to some kind of outside standard. Your ideal is to make sure that you are in compliance with all of these laws and regulations. If you are going to go a step further and make an integrity-based code of ethics, you're going to comply to all those laws and regulations, and you're going to set your own internal standards for things that might be beyond the realm, the spectrum of those laws and standards. Your objective, if you have a compliance-based ethics code, is to make sure that management, employees, everyone involved in your company avoids any criminal misconduct. Well, if you're going to be integrity-based, you're not only trying to avoid criminal misconduct, but you're trying to encourage responsible employee conduct, that everybody in the business acts in a way that is in the best interest of every stakeholder in the business. Your employees, your vendors, your customers, the people that reside in the area where you manufacture your product. Who leads a compliance-based ethics code? Well, since it's centered, on legal standards, it's led by lawyers. If it's integrity-based, you still need those lawyers, but there are plenty others in the business that will have a hand in setting that code of conduct. And again, good ethical behavior starts with top-level management, so they're going to be the most important one. What methods do you have for making sure that your company is compliant with a compliance-based ethics code? Education, ways to reduce employee discretion, not set up a system of controls and standards that make it harder for people to break the law, and then to penalize those that do. If you are going with an integrity-based code of ethics, you still have all of that, but you have other things as well, like what is an ethical decision-making process? Train your employees in that. What accountability does everybody have, even outside of the spectrum of what's legal and not legal? What is in the best interest of all parties tied to your business? So 6 steps that can be taken to improve business ethics in the U.S. is to firstly and most importantly have top-level management adopt and support a very detailed and explicit code of conduct that they expect for all employees within the business. To make sure that there is a clear line of communication so that every employee understands what senior management expects of them, and to have a system of training and continuing education in place so that no one is naive to the set of ethics that your business has. So set it up. Tell your employees what that standard is, and then make sure that there is a formal training system in place that will make sure they are in compliance with that standard. But you can have the best system in place, and there are still, unfortunately, people that will act unethically. If you want to have everyone share in accountability at the business, you have to have a way that people aren't going to share in the blame when one employee acts unethically. You're going to have a way that they can blow the whistle, as they say. And that is a system that allows people to, mostly anonymously, report illegal or unethical behavior that won't harm their position within the company. Your set of standards is going to affect all of the stakeholders in your business. So you know what? You should involve them in helping you set that code of conduct. You should talk to your suppliers, any distributors, your subcontractors, talk to your customers and know what they expect of your business so you can write it into the code of conduct that you have, and have a system in place where this code can be enforced with a timely action if any rules are broken. Speaking of blowing the whistle, if you are working at a business and it is very apparent to you that one of your co-workers is acting in a very unethical and maybe illegal manner, you are, I don't want to say incriminating yourself, but you're making yourself an accomplice if you sit there and do nothing and let this happen for a long time. You knew about it, you enable it with your silence. So decide very carefully, but decide quickly whether you're going to blow the whistle or not. Make sure that you are filing these with the proper party. Don't go muck racing. Don't go talking to everybody else in the business. Do you know what Jim did? There are offices within the business that you can go to report this. Make sure you are going with the appropriate parties. And sometimes it falls within the spectrum of multiple facets of your business. So if you have multiple agencies where you need to report this to, you should. If it's someone else that's acting in an unethical way by overstating the number, say you're a legal agency, the number of hours that employees have worked, you should tell not only the people within your business that, hey, this illegal and unethical behavior is going on, that is affecting the people that you're billing, your customers. So you should have some kind of methodology that helps them. File it with the Better Business Bureau. When you gather information, don't steal it from somebody else's laptop. Make sure that everything that you are coming up with is obtained legally and that it's supported. And when you report, don't try to exaggerate and make it look like reality television. Think of it as a very legal document that represents you as a person. Stick purely to the facts.